What's up, guys? Jesse at Schultz Outfitters here. It's fly tying season. I know everybody's tying. I'm going to show you a fly that you should definitely be tying, getting ready for the spring, and if you're going out fishing right now. We're just going to tie a very simple Red Eye Leech. So to start, I'm going to get a TP, an Ahrex TP 650. That's a 26-degree bend, and I have this prepped up already, but I just put a dumbbell eye right on top of that hook there. These are flies that I tie quite a bit throughout the year, and I try to make pretty quick when I'm doing it. So I'm going to have quite regularly hooks with eyes already pre-tied on my desk, ready to go. And when I do these, I'm definitely going to tie different sizes, medium, smalls, larges, depending on the flows and where I'm fishing at. So I definitely, a lot of times I'll have these pre-rigged up, ready to go. That way when I'm ready to go fishing, I can just spin it up real quick. So I just got that eye right on the top of that bend right there, locked in, glued. I put a good thread base on it. I'm just going to put a little flash in there. My favorites to use in these is the speckled copper and the holographic cranberry. And I'm just going to put 2 or 3 pieces of each color in there. And when it comes to flash in these, you know, it's something that you definitely don't have to tie them with flash. But I'm a proponent of putting it in there because I can't put it in after the fact. But if I decide on the water that I don't want that flash in there, it's real easy to just rip this stuff out. So I definitely normally tie them ahead of time with flash. I'm just going to put all that flash kind of together. Find the middle point on the clump. I'm going to set it right on top of that hook there. Transfer my hands and hold it. And just give it 2 or 3 good wraps. I'm going to double it back over itself backwards and secure it. I'm going to bring my thread back kind of to that bend of the hook. Work back forward kind of towards the middle. What I do a lot is, before I get crazy, I just trim it up a little bit. Leave it probably 3 or 4 inches longer than what I know my tail is going to be, but just to make it a little more manageable. And so when I'm doing these are tied completely out of bunny. And it will end up having a mallard flank collar on it. But besides that, it's really bunny and flashaboo. So I'm going to take one good length strip here, and this is how I'm going to determine my tail length. So I'm going to kind of figure out how long I want my tail before I do anything here. And when I'm doing these, you definitely want your tail long enough that it's going to get good swimming motion in the water, but you don't want it to be too long that, you know, you have issues of it fouling when you cast it. So you kind of want to have a good combo there of length, but not too long. So I'm going probably 2.5 inches on that. I'm going to kind of mark that with the hide facing up towards me. And then I'm going to take my hook out of my vise. I'm going to take that hook and I'm going to drive it through the leather of that bunny. I kind of grab it and pop it through so it's like that. And I'll spin it so my tail is in the back and put it back in my vise. So now if I was to look at it how we had it, I have the natural flow of the bunny going towards my back here as my tail. And then the cross section, again flowing backwards, is going towards the eye of my hook. And I got it just like that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my thread back as far as I can here. Get it all straight. I'm going to kind of prune these fibers of this bunny back to expose that hide. I'm going to give it a couple wraps. And I want these wraps to be pretty tight because this is what's going to lock in and secure that bunny to this hook here. Doesn't need a lot of wraps, 3, maybe 4. So then from there I should be able to tug on this and it's locked in and secured. So then I'm going to work my thread back up right behind my eye here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this bunny and I'm actually going to wrap it around the shank of this hook all the way up to right behind the eyes. And I do these wraps pretty tight, kind of right over top of each other because we're building up this body. So the more wraps you get, the more dense your fly is going to be. And again, when I'm doing these, like I'll tie them in smalls, mediums, larges. Sometimes I'll tie it on like a 1/0 hook if I want a really big one. And I'll tie these all the way down to like number 2s quite regularly, So you can definitely make different sizes with these. Then once I get all the way up to that eye, I'm just going to go ahead and lock down that bunny. Trim it off. Kind of slip in there, so I'm going to move it in. So then once I'm up to here, I'm going to grab a pretty good sized mallard flank feather. This is just to kind of give it a little cross separation of color. Give it a little break up, throw in another color. I'm going to tie that in right behind. Kind of wet those fibers. And palmer it a couple times right up behind that eye. Tie her off. Trim it off. And then now we just got to do the head. And when I do this, you can do it a couple different ways. A lot of the times, I'll just spin in a dubbing loop on Magnum bunny. You definitely want to use the Magnum if you're going to spin the loop to get more fibers in there, because I definitely want this head pretty dense. Or you could utilize some of the new bunny brushes. We've had the MFC stuff for a while. We just picked up this new EP stuff. The EP, we have it in short and long, so that's pretty sweet, and this even has a little flash in it. That's what I'm going to put on mine today. So when you get that bunny brush, it's basically a really big dubbing loop already done for you on a wire core. So I'm just going to tie that in behind the eye. And again, I want this pretty dense, so with this, I'm probably going to try to utilize most of this brush on this. I'm going to give it a few wraps behind. Build up a collar on it. And I'm going to figure eight it around these eyes a bunch of times, making sure my thread stays up front. Just giving it as many wraps in there as I can. Tie her off. Pull back that bunny. Miss your fly. Hit it with a little glue of choice. Z-Ment. We just started carrying Zap-A-Gap again. UV works great for this. A Flex. Just hit a little bit right around there. Just like that. Got a good little leech pattern. Red Eye Leech. It's the #1 fish catcher right there.